this video, it's just gonna be me today, and I'm gonna talk about what it was like being pregnant, pre-pregnancy, and then like that pregnancy or pre-labor, I guess you say, in the pregnancy time I was pregnant. So honestly, I hate to say this, pregnancy treated me well. I gained about 21 pounds, I want to say, or so throughout my pregnancy. I did continue to walk every day. So I started off with 4 miles, which I was actually doing on my regular. Probably around 25 weeks, I had to go down to 3, and then like the 3rd trimester was barely making a mile, barely walking. So the baby sat really low in my pelvic area, so I could walk for like 5 minutes and I could just feel like I felt her head just pushing down overall. But I would say the pregnancy treated me well. I was sick in the beginning, and then towards the end it was tough, I guess. I don't know if tough would be the word I want to say. It was more tough than it was in the beginning, but nothing compared to what I hear other people say. So good pregnancy overall. Let's talk about when I went into labor. So I actually had a doula, and I think Ramon will post some information about doula. I had went through One Love Doula here in Tampa, Florida area. And around 4 a.m. before the baby was born, I started feeling something different that I didn't feel before. And I told Ramon, I think I'm having contractions. I think I'm going into labor. Funniest thing ever, this guy goes out and buys like all this food. He legit spent like $150 on junk food because the doula told us to have snacks and things, which was cool, and we ate, but it was junk food, but bless his heart, it was much appreciated. So then I had the contractions. I told the doulas, don't come at 4 a.m. Let me just get through it. So I think the doula came around 11, 12 o'clock. It was still pretty comfortable. I basically labored at home till I was, for about 12 hours, I want to say. And then right before I ended up going to the hospital, I went to get my nails done because I had really long nails and I had an appointment already scheduled, and I refused to go to this hospital with these long nails and having a baby come out and try to figure out how to take these things off. So I actually was having contractions while getting my nails done. So this is not an abnormal thing. I hear people do stuff like this all the time. And then from the nail salon, we came back home, and I kind of sat in the tub, and then my water ruptured. We're gonna use the word that the nurses use, ruptured. And we decided, okay, gotta go to the hospital. After like laboring for 12 hours, I'm thinking I'm like dilated like 8 centimeters. We're gonna push this baby out and be good. I get to the hospital. They first tell me my water didn't even break, it ruptured. And then they say, you're only 1 centimeter dilated. I'm like 12 hours of laboring, and don't get me wrong, it wasn't terrible, but 12 hours of laboring, and you're telling me that I'm only 1 centimeter? Wow. Okay, but I actually ended up vomiting in the hospital, and my water broke from the vomit, I guess the pressure from the vomit, and then they kept me in the hospital from that. So not too long after, the lady told me, oh, we might have to send you home because your water didn't break. It broke. So we got admitted to the hospital. I wanted to have a all-natural birth. Like I said, those first 12 hours I labored without any epidural or any pain medicine. And I kept pushing, saying, I don't want the epidural, I don't want the epidural. And then I guess I went for like 4 or 5 hours, probably 4 or 5 hours after that, 6 to 6, so 6 hours, no, for another 6 hours. So that will put us at 18 hours pushing, not pushing, 18 hours of laboring. And then I said I want the epidural. So they gave me the epidural. I took the epidural a little after 12 a.m. the next day. And they gave me this peanut ball thing I put between my legs. An hour and 15 minutes later, I was dilated 10 centimeters. And I pushed the baby out in 12 minutes. And so it went pretty well, I would say, overall. So that's kind of what our labor experience. Oh, something I did forget. I loved having the doulas there because there were things that I was always really nervous about going into the hospital that, you hear Black women have, there's a high mortality rate in women Black women when they give birth. So I wanted to make sure that I had somebody there to support me and be a voice for me and the things that I wanted to happen at the hospital and not force me. Sometimes I feel like doctors or nurses kind of make you feel like you don't know nothing or you stupid, and they're saying what's best for you, but if that's not what I want, it's not best for me if it's not what I want. And if there's no like dire need, or if I'm not gonna die, I don't think that's something you should push. Like, for example, they did tell me because my water broke and I was only 1 centimeter dilated that I should get Pitocin, meaning I should induce my labor, which I really didn't want to do either, because like I said, overall I wanted to have a natural birth, and I knew if I got the Pitocin and continue to try to have a natural birth, it would be much harder, and then I would want the epidural. Although in the long run I did get epidural, but it was my decision and not someone trying to force me to do something that I was not comfortable with. So at the end of the day, the doulas were there pre-pregnancy, or excuse me, pre-labor, and just kind of very helping educate me, giving us the right information, taking classes ahead of time, just keep making us informed people before we became parents, and supporting us in the hospital and also our post-visit. So I loved it, and I would have a doula again for our next child. So then, like I said, just the process of it, baby came out 12 minutes. It was amazing, great. I cried, Ramon cried. It was an emotional situation. They gave me a mirror where I could see my baby's head and her hair come out, which is actually pretty cool. Kind of weird seeing that down there, but it was pretty cool, and I can appreciate it. It was an amazing thing. It was exciting. Sometimes now, even when I look at her today, I'm like, I have a whole baby. This is my little baby. I'm loving it. In the hospital, we were ready to go. Nothing against the hospital out here in Riverview, but we were just ready to go. You know, I've never stayed in the hospital for overnight or anything. So it was weird having people come in and out. But I guess I was like more prepared for it. I wasn't nervous, I guess, but I was just as prepared as I could be. So also, I guess everybody knows this if you had a child, but if you haven't, this is going to be like TMI, so if you don't want to hear it, you can just fast forward through. But Lord have mercy, there's a lot of bleeding afterwards, and I did not know that. They give you like these jumbo pads. I wish I had one to show, but they're like this big, like this wide and this long. Insane. But you need them. So that was weird. Like I guess in the hospital it was really heavy, but once I got home it wasn't too bad. But you're sore. I tore a little bit down in that area. So because of that, they put, I think she said 1 or 2 stitches that dissolve, so it's fine. But like I said, we have welcomed our new baby into the home. Pregnancy was a good experience. I am willing to do it again for 1 more child for my husband. And let's just talk about real quick how this looks as being a married couple. Ramon's probably gonna listen to this when he gets to it, but one thing that kind of made me like a little in my feelings was Ramon says he doesn't find pregnancy attractive, right? So again, this is the unfiltered part. My husband does not find pregnancy attractive. Like I said, I gained about 20 pounds, but I wasn't big, and we'll talk more about the snapback later in another video. But because of that, I felt like he wasn't attracted to me, which was a little difficult. And I had a hard time dealing with that because I'm like, well, maybe he won't like me or he's not attracted to me later after I have the baby. But I can definitely say it was definitely the pregnancy piece. But it was something we worked through and we talked through it. I mean, I was in my feelings a lot. I was emotional. I felt like he just was not attracted to me because I was pregnant. And he said this before we got pregnant, that he doesn't find pregnancy attractive. He finds it weird, the belly stretching, all that. But outside of that, that was one of the hardest things for me while, the married part of it while being pregnant was that my husband had just a different outlook of me. And because he was always extra touchy-feely, and he was not touchy-feely during pregnancy, which was basically 9 whole months. Well, once I started to really look pregnant and my stomach started to harden. So that was one thing, but I would say he was the most supportive person through the pregnancy. I mean, helpful. When I couldn't do things, he would take care of him in the hospital. They even called him Daddy Doula, that he should be a doula. I mean, just really there for me, like the rock who I needed at that time. So, you know, you compromise in a marriage. Although my husband may not have found pregnancy beautiful or found maybe even me attractive in that time frame, I understood that and got it. Although it hurt my feelings a little bit, when I needed him, when I needed his support, that man was there. I mean, the best support system, the best teammate anybody could ask for. So just kind of tie in the married piece of it and what that looks like during our pregnancy overall. So like I said, guys, we're gonna keep these short. I'm not gonna do these long videos, but I wanted to give you a quick update on what happened through our pregnancy. And basically, please stay tuned for our next short. My thoughts is basically going to talk about post-pregnancy and what that looked like for me. So don't forget to like, subscribe, share on our platforms of YouTube and Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And we're looking forward to seeing you soon. This is Married and Unfiltered. We'll see you later.